Leopard Lair. I'm your host, Jon Aljancic. We have an action-packed show for you tonight. And before we get going, we want to first thank our main sponsor, Dr. Mike Thomas, as well as Jared Heller at Leopard Nation and all he does for Louisville sports, and as well as Straggat Media for putting this live stream on. We're greatly appreciative of that. So we have a great show for you tonight, and we're starting off with our girls lacrosse team. Girls, thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you for having
Coach.
us.
And so, we have Coach Joseph Yobi here with us in his fourth season with the Lady Leopards, as well as we have Chloe Shadle, Chloe Shadle, Kalli Spehar, and Taylor Sharlow with us. So, girls, thanks for coming on tonight. So, Coach Yobi, teams 2 and 3 right now, coming off a tough loss from Glen Oak last night. Kind of tell us about the expectations going into the season, what you were hoping for with the girls, and things like that.
So we kind of started off with a very young team. We've had 6 incoming freshmen that never really played lacrosse before. Not having a middle school program has kind of hurt the development at early age. But we did start that this year, which is always good. So coming in, I had a decent expectation of let's just keep day by day, keep going forward, keep pushing forward, be that 1% better each day. And the girls have surprised me. They've really come into their own. They have really taken leaps and bounds forward, and we're looking to have a decent season this year.
Good. Okay, so far 2 good wins against Poland and Boardman, and like I said, a tough loss last night against Glen Oak, as well as losses to Chardon and St. V's. So girls, to kind of pick up where Coach was just talking, do you feel like you've gotten that 1% better as the season has gone on so far?
Yes, definitely.
Definitely, yes.
Where do you think the team has progressed the most, would you say, from your first game to this past one?
I would say mostly like working together. Like last year we had a lot of just like people trying to do everything themselves, and I think we work a lot better as a team this year than we did last year. And I think that's also improved us as a team, why we are so much better this year than we were last year.
Okay, how about you two?
I agree with that. Like, our bond is stronger, and you can see it on the field that, like, we're all trying for one goal instead of for ourselves.
What do you attribute the difference from last year to this year then? How you're all on the same page? Would you say that's just leadership from the top? Is it more you guys kind of holding each other accountable?
I would say holding ourselves accountable. Like we don't pass the blame as much. Last year was a lot of like tension in between like a lot of the girls, and we don't have that as much this year. So like we hold ourselves accountable, yeah.
I would say there's more of like a bond between the like underclassmen and the upperclassmen instead of kind of like
Less tension.
yeah, instead of separating between like the freshmen and the seniors. I feel like we're all like closer, or at least try to be closer than definitely we were last year. So
Okay, so for you girls, what were your goals coming into this season? Right now you're 2 and 3. Obviously the season-ending tournament will be here before you know it. What's your hopes as you guys enter into the tournament this year?
we're hoping that we can go further than we did last year. I think we definitely have a chance if we keep working hard, and so we can get past at least that first game. So
Yeah, going into like staying strong instead of giving up, like thinking we're gonna lose, going thinking we're gonna win.
Yeah, last year I feel like we just had it in our mindset that we weren't going to go far no matter how much we tried, so we just let them walk all over us at the first game. And I feel like this year we have more effort in the games, like people who want to win.
Okay. Now, Taylor, you're a defenseman, or defensewoman, I should say. And then Chloe and Kalli, you guys are midfielders. Can you kind of explain to me what it takes, first of all, on defense? Like, what makes a good defensewoman?
For me, it's like staying strong. Like, you have people coming full speed at you, and they don't care that you're there at all. So it's more just like being willing to take it.
So your job is to make them care, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, make them care.
Make them care that
And
I'm
she
there.
does. She does.
Thanks, Kalli.
I would say communication is a lot. You need to know what's happening. You can't see the field constantly, so you have to rely on your teammates to be able to let you know what's happening behind you and where you need to go if you are lost. So
I also feel like you always need to be on your toes. Like, you're never, like, relaxed on defense. Whenever you go to offense, you have time to, like, regain your composure and stuff. But, like, when you're on defense, it's up to the other team. So you always have to be on your toes because you never know what they're going to do.
Now, Coach Yobi, is that something, they kind of touched upon communication or whatnot. Is that something you work on in practice? Is that something you stress, or is that just something that comes naturally with some good senior and upperclassmen?
So it's a bit of both. We want to make sure that we communicate well during practice. I constantly yell at them to keep talking, just because we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. But it comes from the top down. I know Taylor's our defensive captain. She gets put out there, and then I don't have to worry about organization. I'm worried about dealing with the small things here and there because I know Taylor will keep it organized in the back.
What would you say, going from your first year as a first-year head coach? Now, you were with the team 3 years prior as an assistant. Obviously, it's a little bit different moving one seat over. Now you're the head coach. So how do you think that progression has been from assistant coach to your first year to now your fourth year? What do you think you do better than you did 4 years ago as a coach?
The transition was a lot more than I expected. I think the organization of how we run practices, how we do game day stuff, just the learning the process of the decision making, of figuring out what needs to be worked on, what do we need to progress, has been the biggest part of learning from my first year to my fourth year.
Okay, and girls, kind of echo that question to you. Chloe and Taylor, you guys are seniors. Kalli, you're a junior, but from your freshman year of playing, and girls lacrosse is kind of a newer sport to Louisville as well, only in its 7th season. From your freshman year to your senior year or your junior year, Kalli, what would you say how you've progressed as a player that maybe you didn't do well as a freshman?
Personally, I know all of the rules. It took me probably 4 years to learn shooting space. My freshman, sophomore year, Yobi yelled at me so much for it because I just didn't understand it. So picking up on all the rules, I've improved so much with it just over 4 years. Okay,
so for our younger viewers, who are coming up in girls lacrosse now that we have it in middle school as well, what is shooting space?
It's so when somebody's coming down in the 8, it's a pizza slice from the top of their stick, and you have to enter with your stick and angle in. You can't just be standing in front of them in the 8.
You can't just step in front of them. You have to be close enough.
You have to reach your stick in and then slide in and step.
Okay. So a pizza slice. You're speaking my language. So we're good there. How about you two?
I think what I've improved on since my freshman year to my junior is definitely my stick skills and just confidence. I started my sophomore year, but I didn't have I don't know. I felt like I was just a pawn. But this year, I've definitely seen my confidence grow, and I can actually see myself doing good. I can give myself credit, be oh, you actually did good right there. As in when I was younger, I'd be well, you didn't really do anything. So, and also just working as a team. In middle school, it's a lot different than high school because middle school, it's kind of just run down the field and score. In high school, you have to play with everyone. You can't just do it all yourself.
Yeah, I would say understanding the game. I think it's a big jump from middle school to that freshman year because you actually have real fundamentals you have to focus on now and actual plays, and you have to understand what's happening. But so I would definitely say that's something that I improved on from freshman to senior year is actually understanding what's going on and not winging it completely. So.
I mean, that works sometimes too.
Yeah, that works.
Sometimes you have to wing
Yeah, absolutely.
Just go in there and
go for it.
Cool. All right, so Kalli, junior, you got one more year after this, obviously. Yep. What does your off season look like then? Obviously, we don't want to look towards next year just yet, but what's that going to look for you?
I actually participate in a club travel team, so I will be doing that over the summer and maybe in the fall. And then whenever I can, it's usually my club practices interview of open fields and stuff, but I do try to go to those. And then I just just going in my backyard and working on my stuff because it's a lot easier to work on passing and catching by yourself, so that way when you get to the season you can just learn new stuff instead of having to go back and relearn everything. So definitely just keeping the stick in my hand and practicing.
Cool. Now Taylor and Chloe, you guys are graduating here pretty soon. What does next year look like for you guys? What's the future holding?
So I'm going to play lacrosse at Ashland University, and then I'm going to study marketing.
Good for you.
I am actually not continuing lacrosse, but I am going to Stark State for dental hygiene. So.
Great. Well, that's awesome. Well, girls, Taylor, Kalli, Chloe, thanks for joining us. Coach Yobi, I really appreciate it as well. Thanks for coming to the Lair.
Appreciate you guys letting us come on.
No problem. And good luck the rest of the season. We're excited to see how it finishes up for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, girls lacrosse team, we really appreciate having them here tonight. And we'll be right back after this with the boys football team.
Beatty Sports has all of your athletic needs, specializing in corporate, school, and team apparel. In-house custom embroidery and silk screening makes the Beatty Sports tradition of quality and service unbeatable. Go Leopards!
When Superintendent Schaefer, the school board, and new head coach Troy Davis asked me to pick up for Dennis Beery and fund the new scoreboard, I thought it was a daunting task. But we did it. The people in Louisville love the Leopards. And as for Thomas & Associates Dental, we have one thing to say. Band, cheerleaders, football team.
And welcome back to the Leopard Lair, presented by Straggat Media. I'm Jon Aljancic, and we are here with head coach of our football team, Troy Davis, as well as senior Jacob Davide and junior Braiden Hershey. Thanks for joining us, guys. So, all right, so this isn't August, this is April. This is, we're here talking about football. We're a little bit early, but a lot of things that go into a successful season go into the lifting and working out and that type of stuff in the off season. And so we appreciate you guys coming on. But Coach Davis, what has changed this year, from last year to this year, in terms of our off-season conditioning and that type of stuff? Because I'm hearing about tremendous gains from our team, but what would you attribute that to?
Yeah, so we took it upon ourselves to look at a lot of areas after coming off a 2-8 season to make improvements. And one of our first areas of attack was the weight room, and so we changed the structure of the weight room. We changed who we're training with. We added some extra bodies in there to help us, and our kids have really just bought in and make great gains. We're working hard. We're doing a lot of new lifts that we haven't done before, and getting a lot of total body workout. And our kids are leaving the weight room tired every day. And we saw great gains in our first max out report after 10 weeks, and kids are looking good.
That's awesome. Would you two echo that in terms of the work being put in?
I feel like the biggest thing right now is having senior leaders go by and making sure everyone's doing what they're doing. You can only let trainers do so much because trainers aren't going to be on the field on Fridays. They're not going to be being able to watch every single person during practice. So having those seniors be able to step up and go make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to, putting up the weight they're supposed to. If it's too easy, going up. If it's too heavy, go down. Just they understand the system. So to be able to go through and show them what to do and walk them through the process, I think that's a big attribute to this season too.
Yeah, seniors, upperclassmen really help the lowerclassmen, help survey the whole weight room. I mean, Davide helps everyone with their form, helps me still. They're a big part of the weight room, just away from the trainers leaving if they pick right up the slack.
That's awesome. Well, listening to you two and obviously listening to our girls lacrosse team in the first segment, it sounds like that accountability, especially from the upperclassmen, is extremely important to a successful season. So obviously you guys are kind of carrying on that thread per se. So coming off of a couple tough seasons, Jacob, especially you, this is your final go-around as a senior. You know, you're no longer a freshman, sophomore. You know, the time's coming. What are your expectations, or what kind of bar do you want to set for this team as you enter in to the 2022 season?
Obviously, just win as many games as possible. We start with Steubenville as our first game, so everyone's getting in their heads right now that we're playing Steubenville. They're a hard team, but people are already getting down on themselves, thinking that they're not going to be able to. We can go out there, we're going to win, keep winning, come home. We haven't won a home game. I haven't won a home game yet in my high school career. So to be able to come home and win a couple games would be nice, and obviously make a run in the playoffs.
All right. Well, now, Braiden, you know, obviously not a senior, you know, to be, but what would you say? You know, again, you're no longer a freshman, sophomore. Now there's more expectations. You know, there's playing time coming up. Like, what would you say? You know, with this junior class coming up, what do we expect to see out of them?
I expect big things out of many players. I expect us to take the roles of the seniors leaving, fill in the holes, help the seniors grow, help us push us to the playoffs and possibly further.
Great. Now, obviously the season starts at Steubenville in late August, but Coach Davis, what happens now? We're talking about workouts, but what does it look like as a team as you get into more structured events? What does that look like from, April 14th now to the first game comes Steubenville?
Yeah, so we're going to continue. We have our weight room going. We're right now in the middle of our Battle Fridays time of the year. We're doing morning workouts once a week, and we'll kind of get into that later. But then, as we progress forward, we meet with the players, in small groups to go over some offense, some defensive stuff. We continue to, look at film, pass out film to our players, try to gain as much knowledge as we can. But the big thing right now is, we want to gain toughness and we want to gain strength and, determination to compete and win. And these guys are exactly right. Like, the leadership in our weight room has been phenomenal. The accountability, we work out in groups. So that bonding with your teammates, 53% of our team plays a spring sport. So, the other 47% is in the weight room with us. And, today we were at 95% attendance in the weight room, which is another thing that we strive to get as many kids in there as possible. We want everybody in there working hard, getting stronger. And so, right now we're just focused on rebuilding ourselves and mentally and physically to be ready for next year.
Cool. Now I've heard things are going well in the off season. I've heard a lot of stuff about this Battle of the Belt. And as we were sitting here getting prepared for this interview, I noticed that Braiden happened to be carrying that belt with him. I thought he was carrying it for an upperclassman, but apparently that's not the case. So, Braiden, since you're kind of carrying the belt, can you explain to us what that is? Can you show us as well?
Yeah, the Battle of Fridays, I see that as like a sign of dedication to the team and effort, because we get to wake up at 6 in the morning every Friday, this Thursday, speaking of Good Friday. But it's definitely a sign of dedication, because most high schools are not waking up at 6 in the morning on a Friday, especially getting work in. working your butts off, doing everything you possibly can.
Now, Braiden, I notice you're the one carrying that. Can you explain why you're carrying that, or what happened there?
Well, last Friday, we had a game for lacrosse. Most people sat out, and I saw it as an opportunity to take the belt from Davide. And so I worked hard and took the belt away for this week and possibly defend it tomorrow.
Now, Jacob, is there any chance of you possibly getting that belt back and not just being maybe a good head of hair, but actually
of course.
earn that one back?
I'm taking that back tomorrow. Hands down. It's not even close.
All right, fair. By the way, I appreciate you pulling the hair back, too. We had the basketball team on last week, and I couldn't see many eyes, so I do appreciate that. So, well, Braiden, Jacob, Coach Davis, it's exciting to hear about the hard work you're putting in, and just from our girls lacrosse team as well, like hearing that common theme of the communication, but also the work you put in. Like, you know, I'm a little bit older than you guys, but what I've learned, anything that I've ever done that's ever been successful or worth it has never come easy. You always have to put the work in. And so I'm really excited to hear about that from you guys. I'm really excited what this fall is going to look like for those 10 weeks. So I appreciate you coming in. Coach Davis, thanks for coming.
All right, thanks for having us.
We'll be right back with our weekly update for Louisville Athletics in general.
Beatty Sports has all of your athletic needs, specializing in corporate, school, and team apparel. In-house custom embroidery and silk screening makes the Beatty Sports tradition of quality and service unbeatable. Go Leopards!
When Superintendent Schaefer, the school board, and new head coach Troy Davis asked me to pick up for Dennis Beery and fund the new scoreboard, I thought it was a daunting task. But we did it. The people in Louisville love the Leopards. And as for Thomas & Associates Dental, we have one thing to say. Band, cheerleaders, football team.
So what you got?
When
to the Leopard Lair, presented by Straggat Media. Really appreciate the girls lacrosse team and Coach Yobi coming on for our first segment, and Coach Troy Davis coming on with his players for the football team, and just it's always great to have them, and it's always great to keep in touch with our student athletes. So our final segment, we're just going to talk about our weekly wrap-up, and first up will be our boys team, which unfortunately lost a tough game tonight, 7-6 to Massillon, but did have a great win last night on the strong arm of Anthony Warner in a complete game shutout to beat Massillon 6-0. Our baseball team is currently 5-4, and they play a game tomorrow night at Akron East, and then have a doubleheader this Saturday at Chardon. Next up, we have the boys lacrosse team, who is currently 4-2. They have a game on Saturday versus Boardman at home at 1 p.m., so you can come join us for that game, as well as the girls lacrosse team, like we talked about earlier, coming off of a tough loss against a good Glen Oak team. They're currently 2-3, and they have a game this Saturday at 1:30 at Revere. So, and then our softball team currently has a 2-4 record. They play tonight at Youngstown Ursuline. We don't have the results of that game, but they play tomorrow night at Mogador, and then they play Friday at Dalton, and then they play Saturday at home versus Green at 11 a.m. So come join us at the Dennis Beery Sports Complex there. And then our boys tennis team tonight was supposed to have a match against Central Catholic, but that got canceled. They're currently 4-3, and they have a game upcoming at North Canton on April 18th. And then finally, our boys and girls track team, they have a meet this Saturday, the Glen Oak Eagle Elite at 11 a.m. So just we wish all those teams the best of luck for the rest of this week. And just a note, if you are interested in sponsoring the Leopard Lair, an upcoming show, or a team highlight that the Leopard Lair is going to cover, please contact us at straggatmedia@gmail.com. Again, that's straggatmedia@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on the Leopard Lair Messenger on Facebook. So once again, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your night to join us here at the Lair. And until we see you next week, good night, everybody, and go Leopards.